What's up, everybody? We are here. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my first live stream of my astrophotography sessions. This is going to be, I hope, the first of many. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to set up my screen share, all that good stuff. And we'll also talk about the target we're going to be working on tonight. So just bear with me just here for a moment and we will get going. All right. Go here to YouTube. Just take a quick look at something here. For some reason, the chat's not showing up. So let me see if I can square this away. Oh, let's see here. Everything looks right here. Visibility public, done. Let me go back here. Okay. Hey. Looks like I got the chat going right now. So let's do this. And let me go ahead and pop out my chat. Yep, looks like I got everything up and running now. I had a few little things I had to take care of. Not a big deal. And we will be ready to roll in just a moment. Let me go ahead, share my screen. All right, so let me go ahead and just close a couple things here. And my Pred's lost. All right. So you should be able to see my observatory and what we got going on right now. And then I will also hop over really quick and also set up what I'm going to be working on. Yep. So hopefully everybody, you guys can be able to see what I'm doing here. Do me a favor. If you like what astrophotography, you like what I'm doing here, do me a favor, smash that button. Really appreciate it. And leave some comments. We are all here in the chat. You got something going on here. Let's do it. Yep, we are in monochrome. And the LEDs are all off, so we are ready to rock and roll. So let's go back here. Let me expand things. So everything's looking good. Hey, Dennis, how are you doing, my man? Glad you could make it. Appreciate the support, guys. Really do. So I'm going to try. We're going to see. Like I said, this is my first actual live stream of a session that I've been doing. So still some things I'm going to be learning. Matter of fact, if you were just on Astro World TV, we were doing some attempts of, trying to figure out doing live stacking, stuff like that. So if it works, great. Not, it's not a big deal. So yeah, I mean, Mike, you're going to have to, definitely, I'd recommend get up here, and that way you can put your AM5 on it, or you can put some, an observatory grade mount on it, whatever you want. And it is a definite game changer on how to, it gets you a lot closer to hopefully that permanent, almost semi-permanent setup that, a lot of us Astro backyard type, backyard astronomers, we want to do, having that pier, having an observatory, this, that, and the other, stuff like that, where we can leave things outside, open up our domes, roll open our roofs, things like that, and get to imaging, stuff like that. So, yep, that's some awesome. So that's what I really love to see is if more and more people can start doing stuff like that, that would be fantastic. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch over to my to Nina. So I'm going to change screens here. And you can see right now, I'm sharing this screen here. So let me see here. Yep. So a little bit of background on what I'm doing here. I'm going to switch over here to Sky Tools. And let me minimize this or close that. Is we are going to be working, I'm targeting the Draco Trio. For those who have not seen that before, I will go over here to share what that looks like here on Astrobin. So let's go to Astrobin here right quick. And we'll just take the image of the day here. Maybe it's probably not the best shot here. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Here we go. This was taken with a 14.5-inch Arcos. So here, this is NGC 5982. So you have 5981, 5982, and this really, really nice elliptical here, 5985, that make up the Draco Trio. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be targeting and centering on 5982 to keep everything in line here. So this will give you guys a very good idea of what we're going after, what I'm working on, and what I have been working on for the past month is this group of galaxies. Of course, we all know it's galaxy season. We're still in the middle of galaxy season. In the heart of it, we're getting closer and closer to the end. It's probably going to end towards the end of this month, maybe towards early part of June. And this is the time when, because of how the Earth's rotation, we are now able to see the Milky Way arm is moving out of the way, and now we're able to see these distant stars and distant galaxies. And when you have an opportunity to get, these distant galaxies into your field of view and get them into your telescope and and get the data onto your sensor chip, it's a great time of year. So. Hey, Norm. If you guys have any questions of what I'm doing or how things are, or how I'm doing my process, feel free. I will try to do my best to keep an eye on my on the chat here while I'm working on this. But we are actually going to get ready here. I am going to switch back over to the observatory. So let me go ahead and switch back over to my observatory. While I get Nina set up here. Better yet, apologies, I'm going to, because I'm bouncing back and forth here. So let me share Nina with you first. So let me get up here to the top. All right, so let's head over to framing. And as you can see, with my setup of framing, I'm targeting 5982 and centering that in. And this is, I like this sensor for one, because of it being this 1-inch square sensor, it does give me a narrower field of view with that edge, with my Schmidt-Cassegrain, with my Edge 8. And this is why I think it's just a great combination for galaxies. So we're going to go ahead and slew and center. So let's see what we can do here while and get this going. So what I've got set up right now is for my sequence. Everything is getting ready to roll with the 533. What I'll be doing is kicking off I'll be working with 2 filters tonight. I'm going to start off with the blue filter and get this rolling. I'm a little bit behind schedule. I should have started this off at earlier, but this should have been starting the image about 10 minutes ago. But I'll give you, you can take a look and see what it's doing. I'll be doing blue first, 2-minute at 2-minute intervals, and that'll be running until just about 10 minutes till 1 o'clock here Central Time. And then it will hop over to the red channel, and then we're going to continue that on until nautical dawn, which is around just a little bit after 4:30 in the morning. And I do use robocopy to copy everything over from my Melee mini PC over into my shared folder here on my main PC. So we're going to go ahead and switch over here to screen 2. And engage. So there we go. As you guys can see, we are moving now. It is facing north. Hey, Norm. Of course, it is facing north, so it doesn't have to slew very much, but there she goes. perhaps what I'll try to do here is do somewhat of a side-by-side if I can. So maybe if we do this here, maybe this will make things a little bit easier for me as well. Doing things by a side-by-side here. We get that get me out of the way here. How do you deal with the dome as far as being in the way of the scope? I really haven't had any not sure what you mean. Oh wait, I see. You have half of it removed. Yep. So it's not an issue. Yep, exactly. And I just move her around as I need to. So as you can see right now, we are going to start auto. We're going to start the autofocus sequence. Take a look, see here. Matter of fact, the autofocus did not run. So, but I want to get that running because I'm thinking what happened. I'm going to pause this just for a second before this closed. It's always something, you know what, guys? There's always something. So let me put this on pause here for a moment and let's take a look. And I want to take a look at my equipment here. Make sure everything is working. There's always something, right? That's why one thing I love about it is because you're always troubleshooting. So here we are. We're going to take a look at my sequencer here. Make sure I've got everything set. So let me turn this on. And I'm going to reset here. I'm going to reset everything. Yes. And imaging my equipment here. My options, turn on my filter offsets. I don't know how many of you guys use filter offsets. I tend to use them quite a bit. It does save me time. Some people like using filter offsets, some people don't. It's just a matter of preference, you know. We're going to go ahead and get everything started, reset, close everything out. And let's take a look and see where we're at. We're slewing and centering. Where I'm at with my filter wheel. Okay. We should start guiding soon. And then we should actually, there we go. Autofocus is kicking in. So I'd love to know how many of you guys actually use filter offsets when you're working with Nina and how many of you don't. So we'd like to know if it's something you feel it's pretty reliable for you, or if you still go ahead and just do things the old-fashioned way and just do an autofocus on every filter change. Kind of curious to see what everybody's thoughts are. I used to, but found that temp changes made offsets null and void. Okay. But do you still do a if you do use Nina, do you still do an initial, say, autofocus at the start, say like I'm doing it right now with luminance, and then still rely on your filter offsets anyway, or do you just go ahead and make that and just not use them at all anyway? So, one thing I can probably do here is also look at my options here. Maybe if I turn that off, you can still let it run. It may just run this, maybe just go through another autofocus again. Now, also again, reminder, I'm running Bortle 5 as far as under my skies. I do Bortle 5. So one thing I still haven't really determined yet as far as my deciding upon, and I'm doing this for a while, especially when it comes to monochrome, is how long is my best time as far as should I go with 3 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes? Doesn't matter what filter it is, LRGB or my narrow band. I like to know you guys' thoughts there too. Dennis, no, I actually, if you take a look here, if you see here, that is, if I zoom in here, that is my Prima Luce Astro. This is the 2-inch low profile Astro autofocuser. I've moved on from the EAF and primarily and mostly from the ASI Air. I still have it. The ASI Air is sitting like right behind the EAF, rather. It's kind of right over here, if you can, where I'm pointing at, where I'm circling. So I do use that for rough focus. Then what I'll do is I'll lock down my my mirrors once I get into rough focus with my luminance. Then I'll do autofocus, do the rest of my autofocus sequence with the Astro. Dave, I do an initial autofocus on the first filter in my sequence. Okay, there you go. So let's go back here to my sequence. And I'll go back here. So hopefully this makes things a little bit easier for folks. I know it probably makes things a bit easier for me to, instead of moving from one screen to another screen and stuff like that, especially since I have a decent screen here. Yeah, it looks like we are done, but I'm betting it's going to switch filters because I do have it set to do an autofocus after every filter change. So once it does that, it's going to do another autofocus. I'm betting, unless it's just, yeah, because this is luminance. Take a look, see. Curious to see if it's going to kick off a another autofocus or not. It's probably not, but I want to see here. Scroll down. Nope, it didn't. Thanks. That was a good curve. So I'm just going to take a look, see here. All right. This is always how it works for me. I set mine up to refocus at an HFR of 7. Dave, what do you what's the main purpose for doing it at 7 versus 10? Is there a particular reason? I know I have mine set at 5%. And I'm going to actually hop over here to the imaging side and take a quick look see. Let's maximize this guy. If this gives me any difference. So one thing is that I'm still trying to figure out is shorter exposure, longer exposure. I'm probably just going to stick with a shorter exposure and just do a lot of them, right? That's probably going to be my best bet because that's also going to help dealing with one thing that I've learned is the longer your exposures are, the more you risk certain things. So nope, it's doing an autofocus now. Okay. Let me take a look, see what's it's doing its autofocus on. Active filter B. Okay, so it's going to do now, it's going to do an autofocus on the blue. Because I did just turn off the offsets. So just to let you guys know, that's why it's doing another autofocus. So we're going to go ahead and let it run another autofocus for blue. And then that should be it, unless it has to make any changes based off of the temperature or anything like that. So we should be fine after this. And then it won't have to worry about this until I move over to red later on tonight. And by that time, the stream will be over. I'll be in bed and whatever. Norm, I enjoy pushing out to 1200 second images, especially in HA. Okay. So that's something. That's what, 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Is that 20 minutes? Yeah, I think that's 20 minutes. That's a long time. So hopefully you have some really good guiding, So hopefully your guiding is really, really good to be able to do those 20-minute exposures. I'm probably, you know what? I may try that sometime. I think the longest I've ever gone personally is doing 10-minute exposures. I don't think I've actually pushed my mount to do 20 minutes. I'm sure it's possible that it can do it. I've just never personally done it. So that may be something I may want to try at some point is to do 20-minute exposures. I have had good luck with 10-minute. Okay, usually hang at 10-minute for everything else. Okay. Now, with yeah, definitely. Blue Exterminator is going to get, it's going to tighten things up for you quite a bit. But if you can get them straight out of your raw data, you have nice, tight, round stars right off your raw data. That's what you want anyway, right off the jump. So if you can do that, no problem. But Blur Exterminator is nice to help clean certain things up. Looks like on this one I had maybe a meteor or a plane just shooting through or something. Yeah, 900 is a match with your skies. Is that Dave? Is that you're in those much more light polluted skies than I am. Is that narrowband or LRGB? All right. So looks like we are done with our autofocus. We're at around a 2.2, 2.3, which HFR. Ideally, you'll always like it's, I like it the number smaller, but we'll take what I can get, right? Okay, it looks like we're guiding again, and we're at 2 minutes. So, all right. So let me hop over here to my sequence. And right now I'm doing 2 minute. You know what? Since we're here and we're talking about this, right, Dave, you're doing Bortle 7. As we're talking about this, let me take a look at what will happen if I change this right now. And we're doing blue right now. We're doing blue tonight, blue and red, blue in the top half of the night and red in the latter half. On Sunday, I have another hopefully good night, and then I will do green, right? I will start off probably with green and looking at the number of lights that I have, even currently right now. If I pull that up, I don't know if it'll show me yet. No. Yeah. So right now it's showing me some data here. Looking at that, I will see what I need to do on either red or blue come Sunday night. Yeah, the one thing that I am pleased about, guys, is I'm getting better with Nina and getting a bit more comfortable with it, just like I was with the ASI Air. I was really comfortable with the ASI Air, and I was getting really good curves on my focus and on the focus curves and everything. So now that I've had several months of you doing imaging with Nina, it's wonder why it's running another autofocus here. Let me take a look, see. Why is it doing another autofocus all of a sudden? Let me take a look, see here. I'm going to actually kill this. I think it's doing double work. I'm not sure. So I'm going to sleep that because I'm telling it to do an HFR increase under the global triggers. So I'm really curious on why it's doing another afterwards. So we'll just take a quick look here and make sure all is good. Because I don't want to have to keep going through another, doing an autofocus over and over and over again. Of course, that's killing my time. So, which is another reason why I like kind of doing the filter offsets, is because at least this way I would do the luminance. It would do an offset and then it can just jump. But I also get, making sure that every filter I'm getting nice, tight, stars, and you don't have the concern with that. Yeah, the Astro has made a huge difference in my autofocusing and how tight my stars are. It makes having so many, such tighter, step sizes. It's so much tinier, the step sizes. It's, that micro focusing versus an EAF, hands down. Just like I'm sure with like a moonlight, it's the same way. You having, the much smaller per micron per step, focusing. I'm sure it's so much better than it, of course, is like with an EAF. An EAF is great. So don't let me, say it's not. It is, and I've used it, and I used it for years, and I still do on a lot of stuff. I still use it like on my refractor. It still uses an EAF, which and it does really, really well. But this Asado, man, it has been, it's like night and day between the two. That's why I set mine higher. Otherwise, autofocus is too much. What do you mean by set mine? Why I set we set mine higher? So, oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Your HFR increase. Yeah. If I set it to 7, maybe that'll fix it. We'll see how that goes. Precision equipment is definitely worth the cost, no doubt. I'm actually going to push this to 5 minutes. So when it does its next one, it'll be 5 minutes. See how and also take a look and see how my histogram looks. I mean, if it stays just as good, then I'll change the red as well. Because one thing I definitely need to start doing is developing a more routine choice of my exposures and stick to, hey, if I'm doing, broadband, everything 5 minutes or what have you. If it's narrowband, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Usually I'm doing 10 minutes and just stick with it. Okay. So we have everything now. It's going to do a quick dither, then I'll take a quick look. Dennis, let me know how you like that QHY Q focuser. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. All right, now we're going to go 5 minutes. So let me take a look at my imaging, my last history at 2 minutes. My median was at 2092 ADU. So we're going to take a look see and see what it's at 5 minutes. Yep, the gang is all here. So let's hop over here really quick. Just take a look at PhD. It's under an arc second, so I'm not complaining. Seriously, I'm at an arc second. I'm under an arc second, so if I'm under an arc second and I'm getting some nice tight stars, then I leave it alone, right? I mean, this is fairly good guiding for me. There are times where I get even lower than this. I can get like in the 0.6 range or 0.5 range. So, but as long as I'm under an arc second, I'm fine. So, if any of you guys are working on galaxies for galaxy season, let me know in the chat what you guys are working on. I have started getting really interested in galaxy groups, which is why I'm going after the Draco trio right now. Eventually, I've also been working on Hickson, the Hickson galaxy group Hickson 44, and I will be swapping out. Once I get Hickson 44 done, I hope I can get it done this galaxy season. Then I'll hop over and I'll probably swap out and move into my 2600. Same pixel size and everything. It's a rectangular sensor versus the square of the 533. And then I'm going to move into seeing if I can grab the Leo triplet and get that one. Exactly right, Norm. I mean, everything looks fine here, and as you can see, even the numbers are dropping a bit. So I mainly focus on what do I see in my images. If my images look relatively good, then I'm good. And right now, for the most part, this looks fine. And Blur Exterminator is going to clean up a lot of this stuff as well. Right now, I have the overclock and it doesn't. And now when I'm running it, I've actually went out and I've checked on it, and maybe it's just me. I really haven't sensed any vibration, or maybe how I have it all stacked and set up on the Edge 8 with the Pegasus A-frame and all that. I really have not sensed or seen or had any indicator of any vibration, even though it does have a fan in the overclock 4C. So, but right now it's been fine. Exactly. Yeah. And, and the camera also has a fan and stuff like that. So there's several things that have, we have a couple of things that do have fans. Um, I know if I was running my Rasa, it has a fan. And I really haven't had any problems with vibrations personally that I could see. So, oh, I get it, Mike. There's no problem. It is a definite concern. I have heard of, certain rigs and certain people having issues, and it leads that it's, vibration because of either the camera or something else. So, no problem. I get it. So let's take a look. See, we were at 20, our median's at 2092 as far as ADU on the histogram. I want to see how much it'll jump. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop this autofocus and take a look, see. Once this is done, I'm going to switch this over to, what did I get? I got it's called the Pegasus Astro A frame or A rail. It's a very it's a nice long rail that you can mount a lot of different pieces of equipment to. I have my pocket power, my Pegasus Astro, the Power Box Advance, as well as I have that stacked with the USB with the Pegasus Astro USB hub. So that's stacked together. I have my ASI Air whenever I use the ASI Air. I have that with it. On the side and right in front, I have my Melee. And so far it's been fine. No, it dithers based off of the top here. It does dither after two exposures. Um, One thing, yeah, doing this autofocus, that's probably it. You're probably right about this, which is probably why it's doing what it's doing. So I am probably going to kill that and let it. I'm going to let this run one last time and then I'm going to eliminate it. So that may be leading to it as well. You guys are absolutely right. With it doing this, I think it's going back and forth, which is just killing the time. So it doesn't take that long. So I'll let this run and then I'll put it to sleep and just switch over and just let it do its job based off of what I've got set up here at the very top, which is, autofocus on a filter change and autofocus after an increase. So but it does, I do have it set to dither after 2 exposures. So it'll count 2 exposures and then do it. I'll let this run one more time and then I'll be done. It is another reason why I like having this opportunity to do things live, because I get a lot of perspective from others like you guys, and I can take a look at, getting that advice from other people and getting other people's perspective, which is really great in our community. And some of that input is valuable and can make me a better, photographer. So absolutely. Okay, so it's going to start guiding. So it just stops its autofocus. Settling. And then we'll go ahead and kill this, put that to sleep. And for my red, I don't think I have it set there. And what I'll probably do is just let it 10. Set that to 10 and just let it run, just let it run. And let me take a look at last shot. Let's look at the image history on this guy, 207. Don't see a lot of movement. You do see some change for sure on the histogram here compared to here, the other one, that was at 2 minutes. And then you have 5 minutes. You do have some change here, that's for sure, no doubt. But it doesn't seem huge. 25-star pickup here. That was 21, so that's splitting hairs and stuff like that. So 6 in one hand, half of the other doesn't need another. So let me see here. Quite a bit of gradient, but that's of course going to get all cleaned up. Now, one thing I have started doing is just running everything at gain 0, for higher dynamic range versus just the native unity gain, which is, I think like 100 or something. But for me, I've actually, for the past couple images that I have done, it's been always at gain 0. Okay. Everything still looks fine there. So guiding's good. I'm not too worried about guiding. One thing that I'm definitely going to start looking into is possibly putting PixInsight on here, since it is running on 32 gig of RAM. Let me see what my resources are looking like. Task manager. My resources don't seem very taxed, it does fluctuate a bit, but they don't seem super taxed. So the memory here, disk is low. So I might consider putting PixInsight on here and then installing those PixInsight tools that are here in the plugins. You have like these PixInsight tools, and might take a look. I have to read a little bit more into this to understand everything. But if it works and if I can follow everything, I don't think it'll be too bad. Then I may give this a go on a session. My offset's at 50. I know, and that's me actually increasing it. There was when by default the offset was, I believe, at 8 at default on the 533 when I first got it set up, and the offset, and it was looking at the offset off the ASCOM drivers for the ZWO. Norm, thanks a lot, buddy. Pretty much, really appreciate it. Hope to see you on the next one, buddy. Yep, don't work too hard. So it may be something where I have to take a look at the I use a Samsung 1 terabyte in this guy, I believe. Dennis, is what I've got is a 1 terabyte M2 SSD in this Melee here. I need to decrease my offset to, like, down to 10. Really? I switched it over, Dennis. I switched it over to the SSD. So I'm booting everything off of the SSD. So let's head back over here to the sequencer. That's where we're at so far. Okay. So like I said, I kicked this off to 10, doing this to 10. And I'm going to get this to go to 300. See how we do. And it does check. I do have center off of, do have my center after drift set to check for, plate solve, check the plate solving and everything after 3. Because I have noticed there was one instance where I had it set to some crazy number. I want to say it was like maybe evaluate after like 10 exposures or something like that. And I hit a cloud patch, and it was all down at cloud patch for like maybe 6 exposures, and then it just was off. And then the other 4 exposures it never checked. And so then I had 10 exposures that were just completely off and just completely trashed. So now I've shrunken that down. As far as my center after drift, I decreased that down to, hey, just take a look every 3 exposures and just see how things look. And if it's good, move on. So one thing I'm going to take, I'm wondering, one thing I'm going to take a look at is if I minimize here, and let me close this guy here and here. Do I have the ASI Studio? I do. So what I'm going to do here is to take a look is these are my active projects now, and I'm working on blue. So take a look at wrong spot. I need to go. I'm looking in the wrong spot. I want to take a look here on my USB drive. Let's go to Nina Captures and 92. Today is the 3rd, so let's take a look and see where we're at here and take a look at our histogram. So here's our histogram right here. And this is the ZWO histogram. And here, this gives us an indicator. This is how far off I am. This is off of the ZWO histogram. And I'm not sure how that compares to the Nina histogram. Let me go here to imaging. See if there's a way I can show histogram. Sure, if there's a different way, maybe I can drop it into here. That's better. Okay, so this gives you a better idea of where I'm at. So here's that there, and if I compare that, this guy here, auto. $24.53, 21.40. It's not too far off as far as the median. So for something like this, Dave, do you think that it's overexposing because it's too far? Yeah, I understand. It should be pretty close to this left side here. Getting really close right here. So yeah, you could be onto something here. You can actually go and you can reduce your offsets. So if I went here, I want to say, is it general or is it under equipment in my camera? Yeah, camera. So under your camera, I could go here and I can reset this maybe down to 8 and see where that is. So something like this, I'm being at 50. I may be up there because you see the default offset, it's the max is 100. So you may be onto something here, being at 100. So I may be way too high. It is a good number. Okay. I'll let this run. And all this really means, guys, is if I once I change this, since I don't use darks much anymore, but I can always do my new flats, do new biases at an offset of 10. So once this is done, then I will give that a go. Doesn't hurt nothing, really. I think it'll still all come out fine. That's one of the big things. Like I said, like having this opportunity to have this live stream because I can hear other people's perspectives and think about things that I may have not thought about before, and make some adjustments. Okay, so we'll switch that to 10. And we're going to take a look-see. So let me go back here to my sequencer. It's now set at 10. And we're going to go and give it a go as soon as this thing starts back up. I honestly, for my last two, maybe three images that I have processed, I have not used darks mic, but I have used, of course, my flats and my bias frames. And I think I've gotten really good results, like on my M94 and my other ones. So here, let me just, and you guys just be the judge. If I share, go to my website here. If I go to galaxies here, I mean, I did NGC 2903, and I've done bodes as well. But this was done with, I don't think I did any darks with this guy. If I did, I don't believe I did. Yeah, no, this was earlier this. Yeah, this was just earlier this year, and so I'm pretty positive I did not do darks with this guy. This is 2903, but this is also like at that 50 offset. This is one with the 50 offset, or may not have been. I have to take a quick look here. So if I take, we take just a quick look here. Yeah. Um, this, if I do my, take a look at my luminance. No, wrong thing. Did I do an offset? I did do an offset with this one. This was at a 50 offset. So this was with a 50 offset here. So I have been using the 50 for a while. So, I mean, so this is with no darks, and my Messier 94, this was with no darks as well. So, and I think these turned out pretty well, personally. So, with no darks. But like I said, flats, bias, and the lights. And like I said, it's into everybody's different as far as, some people, with these newer cameras, they do, some they still do darks, some don't. Um, there's nothing wrong with not doing darks, and there's nothing wrong with doing darks. It just really depends on the person. And I think my M81, yeah, this one was also done without darks. So the last three Galaxy images that I've worked on this year, because I think I did this one earlier this year as well. Just had a date on it or not. Yeah, this was a combined from both last year and this year, and I did, so I did some of this back this March, and those were with no darks. So just throwing that out as an example. Not saying anybody's right or wrong on it. Okay, so we're almost done with this 5-minute exposure using an offset of 10. So we'll take a look, see how this is. We go back over here to the imaging tab. And let's take a look as soon as it's over. I'm gonna move this guy over a little bit. Okay. So we have this guy here. And statistics. Looks like I'm clipping now. This looks like I may be clipping now. Let me take a look here. 10:08. Do a quick refresh here. 10:24. And let's look at the histogram. Yeah. No, I may not be clipping, but no, I don't think I'm clipping, but it is pretty darn close to that, right? I'm at 511, and the white and the gray is at 844, 824, and the black is at 511. So, yeah, so no, I'm not clipping, but I'm really darn close. But no, I'm not clipping. So, so you can see here, I'm not clipping. So the one thing I am going to do the next time is I'm going to start working on live stack and figuring out that whole piece to see how things look doing live stacking. And do another a live stream. You guys do another live stream. I'm looking over here because the camera's over here. But do another live stream once I get live stacking down, and then once I get that down pat and get PixInsight going here, then I think that'll make another good live stream show to be able to show how things are progressing when it's doing this live stack and how things are building. So that'll be my next goal, is to learn that piece. What do I use for planetarium software in Nina? I use Stellarium. So that's what I use. I use Stellarium. I like Stellarium. Stellarium has been always it's the one thing that I started out with. It's been very, of course, free and a very good piece of software. So yeah, that's what I use. I use Stellarium. And when I'm not using Stellarium, then I'm on my phone and I'm using like Sky Safari. So on my phone. Learning how to use Pix Insight is an awesome program, but there's a lot to learn. Pete, yes, there's definitely a lot to learn in Pix Insight. One thing I'll recommend if you want to make another a little bit further investment, they are a sponsor of ours with Astro World and Astro World TV. Take a look at the Masters of Pix Insight. They have a class that they do newbie classes. Um, I will show you, their website here. The Masters of Pix Insight. It's Ron Breacher and uh, God, Pete Pruill and Warren Keller, and they are awesome. And they have workshops here. They have a newbie series set up. Which is their newest one, which is they got one coming up right now. It's only $35, and you get to keep the data that they share, as well as you get to keep you get to come back and rewatch the videos. So you're able to keep the videos as long as you are a subscriber. $35, you can join their virtual classes, ask questions. They give out door prizes and stuff like that. But yeah, this is definitely one you can hop into and check out. And you can check out, a lot of their other Pix Insight for Newbie videos and workshops. They're both are all $35 a piece, and you get to access the video and the data. So, and I tell you, they are fantastic. I have learned so much from Warren and from Ron, as well as from like Sean Nielsen from visibledark.ca. He's a very frequent supporter of our channels, and he's a really good friend. And he's actually giving away for our image of the year winner. We are doing a $600 Astro World gift certificate, and you can use that on any Astro World telescopes gear that we sell. Player One, ZWO, Pegasus Astro, Wanderer Astro, you name it, whatever we've got in there, you put that $600 towards that. So, and anybody can, you just go to astroworldweb.com/IOTW and you sign up. So when you're ready to, and you feel that you want to put your hat in the ring, and it doesn't matter if you just started out, it's fine. If you've gotten experience, doesn't matter if you have experience, as long as the data is yours and it's something that you've done, you haven't done it off of iTelescope, but it's from off of your own gear. Enter your name in, and you could win. You could be in the running for stuff like that. So definitely something to think about. So yeah, Tom. Yeah, especially I know Massive Pix Insight. They give a lot of coupons for door prizes and stuff like that. So yeah, so Tom, you got 30% off for um, your QHY camera. If you did that either through Astro World or through Master of Pix Insight, through their door prizes, it's still a great way. But I'm telling you guys, if you really want to learn Pix Insight, and I was one that was definitely intimidated by Pix Insight. And one of the stories that you can hear from Dan is I bought Pix Insight, and I basically owned, for months, all I used it for was the inspection side, was for blink, right? So I did it for just for inspections, and I used to do everything else in Astro Pixel Processor, which I still use, but I do so much more now in PixInsight than I used to. So definitely check these guys out. And like I said, once you become a member and you buy the workshops, you get to keep access to the video and to the data. So definitely something to consider. Yep. And Chad from Patriot Astro, I've used YouTube so much as well, and learning so much from Chad and doing so much off of his videos to help me with Nina. I mean, these guys who do a lot of this stuff and spend their time making these videos, I'm so thankful for them, because they help out guys like you and like me who may not have the experience doing this type of stuff, but we want to learn. And they give us the tools that we need. Also give us the confidence that says, hey, you can do this stuff. It's not as crazy or as difficult as you may think it is. It is, there is a learning curve. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely a learning curve, but you can still learn this stuff and make, some really good progress on your astrophotography journey to do this stuff. So for sure. So right now, guiding is still continuing on really good. Doing the 5-minute exposures. So Dave, thanks a lot, man. And as well as, getting me set back on, the right track for my offsets, because I think that should be, that'll be really helpful. And I'll just go back and I'll do my calibration frames and stuff like that. And I'll stack them all back up together and, do this. So that's not a big deal. Yeah, Corin, definitely grab the PixInsight software, man. Grab the trial, do the trial. I think the trial's good for like a month. Give it a shot and just start learning for sure. Yeah, Tom, thanks. I mean, the guiding looks really good. Can't complain. It's getting down because it's settling down now. It's just going and it's settling down, so I think it's going to be just fine. Let's see. I'm going to put the autofocus to sleep here. I thought I did that. So it'll just do the autofocus off of an HFR increase, and if it really needs it. Same here. It's doing its dithering. It does its dithering off the global settings. So it's doing the meridian flip off of global settings, the dither off of global settings, restoring the guiding, autofocus after the filter change. So it'll do that. And what I then do is for you guys just to see at the very bottom, once everything is done for the night, it'll do a robocopy. So it'll copy everything to my computer here in my basement. I have a shared folder that I've dropped it into. So it'll copy all of those FITS files, those new FITS files. It'll copy them into my computer here. Then I'll sort them and all that stuff. And then it goes through its shutdown, where it goes back to its luminance filter. It finishes, it checks the robocopy, makes sure it's all good, warms up the camera, parks the scope, and shuts things down. Dave, yeah, I'm still not 100% on everything when it comes to Photoshop, because Photoshop is another beast just with a different name, and still has its learning curves that I have to go through, because at some point, I was talking to Dan about this, I'm going to attempt to get really into solar. And he and I were talking about this a bit this afternoon, and me looking at, different solar scopes. I may look into a Daystar, like a Daystar Scout, the 60 millimeter, because we are a Daystar dealer, and I want to give business to Dan because we are partners and all of this stuff, and he's been helping me out so much. So I am always going to try to give my business to Dan first, and to others. So he is a Daystar dealer, so I'm going to go and look at a Scout, and it's less expensive than actually getting a Quark itself, because a Quark is about $1,200 and the Scout is maybe a couple hundred. I want to say like $800 because I'm just going to get the very base one, so it's like 800, 850, something like that. And just go that route and find. I'm probably going to get the 432 from Player One, the Apollo, to put in to pair up with it and give it and just get HAE, solar ago. So we'll see. I aim it for the 294 and an Edge 8. And for Wildfield, I use the FRA 400 and a 2600 MC Pro. Pete, I'm very similar, in a way. We have some similar setups in a little bit. This is an Edge 8 that I'm using. However, I'm using a 533. For Galaxy season, I do like that it's that narrower sensor, having just a square sensor. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it personally because I think it pairs really well, especially when it comes to doing these distant galaxies. It gives me that narrower field of view. It's almost like it's magnifying, right? So I can get these higher, I can get these better shots with these distant galaxies with a 533. And then I also have a William Optics refractor, an FLT91, which I use with a 2600 mono. I've actually started transitioning from one-shot color to mono myself, maybe about 2 years ago, maybe about that, maybe a year and a half. I started really getting more into doing mono because I have just seen, how much more detail, especially with the luminance and everything, that I can get doing monochrome versus one shot. But yeah, Corin, I'm sorry that you had such a rough time with the solar eclipse being down there in Texas, man, because like I said, my parents, my dad and my stepmom, they live just outside of Dallas, and they were pretty bummed out. Fortunately, they did get to see totality because the sky, cleared up just in time to see totality. But even before and after, it was nothing but clouds. So I can feel you, man. Yeah, I'm actually shooting right now. I'm working on these 5-minute exposures. This is in blue, and I'm going to be doing blue and red tonight, and then I'll take a look, and then I'll do green. Then I'll do more green, and on Sunday, excuse me, I'll do green on Sunday, and I will probably take a look at my blues or my reds and see where I'm at, because I want to try to even things out. I'll probably do some more red. That's mostly likely what I'll do, is do more red. And then I'm going to stack all this and see how everything comes out. So yeah, what I'm working on right now is I have my camera, I have my scope here, pointed to, let me see here. So yeah, there's my scope, and it's pointing right now to the constellation Draco. So I am pointing at the Draco trio or Draco triplet. And if I go to Astro bin here, we go to Astro bin, and I can show you what it actually looks like as far as it finished. So you can see. It just gives you a good idea of what I'm imaging here is the Draco trio, the Draco triplet. What I'm working on. So, yep, this is the target that I've been working on this on and off most of April and now going into May. So here is when I was working last week with Sean. This is what we came up with so far of the Draco triplet. And based off of his recommendations, we were talking about this. I need more data. So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on getting more data. So this is what it's at this point, what I've gotten so far, processed within PixInsight and stuff like that. Yeah, it's facing northeast. Yep, it is facing northeast right now. If I bring up Stellarium, let me see if it'll actually bring it up in Stellarium over on my Melee PC. Give you an idea of where it is. So if I fire up Stellarium, oh, okay. It's probably because of everything, So let me go F11. There we go. Maybe that might help a little bit. So let's switch over. Here we are. There's the Sim 60. So there it is. And let's zoom in here. There is the trio. So that gives you a good idea of where the sculpt's pointing at right now. Yep. So yeah, Tom, definitely go for it, man. So, yep, that'd be it. So there you go. So that's what I'm working on. Yeah, he's over in London. Yeah, Corin's in London. So, and what it looks like right now, stars look really good. So just gonna keep stacking, and stars overall look good. And I'm at 5 minutes, so look pretty round. Look nice and round. So everything looks fairly good as far as I can tell. Good there. Mike, great. Thank you so much, man. Cheers. Have a great night, my man. So right now, everything is looking good. And I'm probably also going to call it a night pretty soon. I do hope you guys have been enjoying this live stream of mine. Like I said, if you guys have any comments and if there's anybody who likes with this stuff, who likes what I'm doing here, and they're watching this maybe on a replay or anything like that, don't forget to like and subscribe and definitely leave me comments. You know, the only way I'm going to get better with any of this, be better with working in YouTube and stuff like that is if I hear some feedback from you guys, hear what, get your guys's, positive comments or, even constructive criticisms, things like that, I'll really appreciate that. Thanks, my man. The pod was, one of those things, especially after last year when we had the bad storm up my way and, my mount went over and stuff like that. And Robin, my wife, she said, yeah, no, you've got too much invested into this stuff. You need to protect it a little bit better. And she said she was all, and after that, she was on board with getting, the observatory and getting the pod. So, sometimes certain things, Mother Nature intervenes and, you can make some and it can turn out to be something positive, even though that was a little scary for me dealing, with the mount getting tipped over from the wind. Never thought, but those winds, man, especially around, because it happened around this time last year, or no, actually a little bit later. But it's almost like those tornado or really heavy winds that I just did not think that it would knock it over because it's been in heavy winds before with no problem. But this past time, it was one too many and it got knocked over and it took some damage, and other stuff took some damage too. So she was like, we're not going through this and having you, moping around and stuff like that because your stuff is ruined. So she was like, no, we're going to get you, your observatory. So Mother Nature intervened and got me what I wanted. So, hey, I'm not complaining. Yeah, I can come down and talk to Patty for sure, man. Not a problem. Because I tell you, it's worth the investment. And if you're lucky enough to get a used one, I was lucky enough. This pod I got was used, so it didn't come. It wasn't outrageously out of the budget. So if they're out there to be had, and if you can find one, and if it's in a good price and it's in your budget, I would say pull the trigger on it when you can. Definitely, Dave, man, enjoy your night. Have a great time on the links tomorrow. Go for that, try to break into the 50s there, brother. So enjoy your time, my man. Enjoy your time. So again, thank you guys so much. I'm going to call it a night. It's getting close to 11 o'clock, like 10 to 11 here. And and I need to get my rest. And of course, again, do not forget to check me out here on Astro with Eric. Check out my website, astrowitheric.com. It's still a work in progress. I've got a new blog post from when I was at NEAF, so feel free to check that out. And if you have any comments, again, feel free to drop those comments in. I really appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up and a like. And let me know if there's any other things that you guys in the astrophotography world are interested in that I can possibly help out with as far as getting into, maybe demoing or anything like that. But, until then, really, guys, just like Dr. King says, only in the darkness can you see the stars, man. And that's for real. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Cheers.